Hello, YouTube, and thank you for tuning in. I am your host. This is my second YouTube podcast, and today we're going to talk about targeted individuals and the existence of this program. I've seen several videos that deny the existence of this program. I've read articles about this program and the writer or the author claiming that it's mental illness. And so we're going to take a look at some of the things that are out there that prove the existence of this program and take a closer look at some of the specific details and some of their specific arguments that they make in regards to this program not being real. So I'm not going to call out anybody specifically in this particular video. I'm just going to go over some of the facts and details of the targeted individual program, the people that have come forward with information about this program, why some of the people would make arguments that it's mental illness or claim that it doesn't exist, and I'll put together some more. There are some videos in this timeline. In this video, there are some article references in this video. And just like last time, I'll put links in the description so that you can go back and reference where I got my information. So some of the articles that I've been reading, and I've done a lot of research on targeted individuals. They say things like these people are mentally ill, this doesn't exist, and basically criticizing these people for coming forward and trying to deny the existence of the program so that these people are further victimized. So if we look at the history of our country, we do know that there have been similar programs in place that have done exactly what the targeted individuals are claiming is happening to them today. So we have programs like COINTELPRO from the 1960s and 70s, which attacked Martin Luther King, it attacked Malcolm X, and it attacked other civil rights leaders. As far as the ACLU website is concerned, so if we go to the ACLU website, they have a whole article or a whole section about COINTELPRO and FBI spying. And when I see these videos and read these articles about people denying the existence of these programs, I have never once seen them discuss any of the history of FBI spying, of these programs in existence that have attacked our past leaders. And they always go into this, they just seem delusional, they seem mentally ill. And that argument just doesn't stand with people that want to go a little bit further, that want to have an actual discussion about what's happening with this targeted individual program, because it's creating a matrix in our country. It's literally creating an artificial intelligence matrix that is controlling everyone in our country and around the world. It is a social control program, and these targeted individuals are being targeted in this program to create this social control and this matrix. So, when we hear the people say that these people are mentally ill and delusional, that's their whole argument. It's a surface argument, and it goes no deeper than that. So, all we have to do is a little bit more research, the second layer of research. And we go to places like the ACLU. Now, the ACLU, we'll stop there first. They talk about COINTELPRO, and they talk about COINTELPRO being used to discredit people, to break up marriages, I quote, break up marriages, disrupt meetings, ostracize persons from their professions, and provoke targeted groups into rivalries that might result in deaths. So we know this is happening, and they say that again, I'm quoting from this, unfortunately, these factors are all present again today as the FBI seeks to transform itself into an internal intelligence agency dedicated to preventing future acts of terrorism. So we know that it's continuing today. COINTELPRO, which spied on Martin Luther King, discredited him, tried to smear him, destroyed him, and ultimately probably led to his death. We know that that's happening today just by the ACLU coming forward. So here we have the opinion of somebody who says these people are delusional. Then we have ACLU coming forward and saying something similar is happening today. Now, with the technology and the advancements that we have today, that ability to disrupt is greatly more advanced than it was back in the 1960s. And I'll put a link to this article so that you can read the whole article yourself. And as a matter of fact, I'll have my artificial intelligence go ahead and read through it verbatim so that you know what it's saying, so you don't have to go read it. However, it is here and we know that it's happening. I don't have a lot of notes in front of me, but I will try to touch on each point. Now, another thing that was happening was also the Stasi. The Stasi investigative unit in Germany was also conducting psychological operations on its citizens. And many thousands of citizens were subjected to horrific psychological abuses. So again, we have another instance where psychological torture is being used against citizens to discredit them, to oppress them, and so that you don't believe when they come forward and say, this is happening to me, or whatever they're doing to criticize the government, whether it be they're criticizing their war, criticizing their policies, or somebody just doesn't like them and has access to this type of network. Now, we hear a lot about, again, when people try to come forward and talk about this, someone will post a video or post an article, even in mainstream news, that says that these people are delusional, these people are mentally ill, and they never go back and look at the history or even what's happening today and listening to the scientists, the lawmakers, the law enforcement, business people, technology experts, whistleblowers, and even the general public as they come forward to ask for help, and they're continuing to attack these people and making it easier to destroy these people's lives. Now, one thing that we had going on with the Bush administration is the Patriot Act. And the Patriot Act was created, which took away a lot of rights of citizens. It opened up the door to additional spying on citizens, all to catch terrorists. The Bush administration wanted to put into play what is called Operation TIPS. So, for example, in Operation TIPS, they went to the USPS, the United States Postal Service, and they asked them to join their Operation TIPS, which would make 800,000 employees part of their spy network. The USPS initially refused that request because it would be spying on American citizens. The Bush administration also tried to recruit utility workers, delivery people, anybody that's coming into contact with people, like going into your home, to report on their activities. So if you had some sort of maintenance worker come into your home, that maintenance worker would then make a report about what they saw while they were in your home to make sure that you weren't a terrorist or engaged in some sort of criminal activity. It was eventually scrapped. That law was eventually scrapped because it violated privacy laws, it violated Fourth Amendment laws, it violated our constitutional rights of privacy. However, when Obama came into office, Obama wanted to create a civilian security force that was just as strong as the U.S. military. Now, being just as strong as the U.S. military means that they're going to be authorized to use force, including psychological force, to control the population. And again, we'll take a look at a video here of that civilian security force, or Obama talking about the civilian security force. And Obama has this thing about putting policies together, taking action without discussing it with other lawmakers. He got us into several wars without ever going to Congress and asking them for their opinion. And again, he puts together this civilian security force without talking it over with other lawmakers, without putting together a vote for it. He just builds it up, and now it's attacking U.S. citizens. So now we know about neighborhood watch groups. We know about InfraGard. And we know that we have civilian spies now in our country. And so why would people turn around and talk about these people being mentally ill when they come forward and say, this is happening to me. I'm being stalked, harassed, attacked, smeared by this group of people. And then somebody will turn around and say, this person is mentally ill. There's only a few reasons why they would do that. And then they don't even go and look and talk to the scientists, the technology experts, the lawmakers. Because we've had lawmakers come forward about satellite technology attacking citizens, like Dennis Kucinich tried to pass the Space Preservation Act, which would have made it illegal for anyone to use space weapons, satellites, to attack U.S. citizens, because that's what they were doing. We also had Jim Guest, who wrote an affidavit supporting an American citizen that took a group to court saying that he was being attacked with direct energy weapons. And Missouri State Representative Jim Guest wrote an affidavit to the court saying that this is happening and that the people coming forward need to be believed and something needs to be done about it. And so when these people come forward and say they're just mentally ill, either they're targeting people themselves, and again, I don't know their situation, but either they are targeting people themselves, which means they're receiving money, they're receiving gifts, they're receiving some sort of benefit for attacking people, or they just don't want to take the time to go and research what is actually happening and go deeper into the issue to find out and ask these questions. And not even if you don't want to ask, the information is everywhere. The truth is everywhere. They're looking at all these people and saying, you're just all mentally ill, while there's literally billboards on the side of buses talking about this program. There are billboards in cities all across the world, including Canada, Thailand, here in America, all over the world, talking about this problem. We've had politicians come forward, whistleblowers come forward, scientists come forward, technology experts come forward, and then the hundreds of thousands of people come forward saying they're being affected by this program. So what do we do with the people when they come forward, or when they push back against these people and say they're mentally ill? Again, either they're getting paid by it, they've been recruited into the program, and their job is to go online and say these people are mentally ill without any other explanation. So either they're targeting people themselves, or they're just too lazy to go look at the information that's already out there, or they're calling all of the people that come forward liars. Look at Edward Snowden came forward Edward Snowden came forward and talks about social control. This is the greatest social control program in the history of mankind. He talked about spying by the Obama administration. And they're calling the people that are being spied on liars or mentally ill, or the people coming forward as somehow delusional or wanting to be a part of a group. I haven't known anyone, or I should say it's very rare for someone to come forward and say they have mental illness and they want to put a big billboard up and say, hey everybody, I'm being attacked with these weapons. I'm being attacked with these direct energy weapons because they have mental illness. That's just not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. When you see something about mental illness, it's usually like, don't stigmatize me. It isn't, I'm being attacked by direct energy weapons, help me. And then a politician will say, this is happening. And then a scientist will come forward and say, I created these weapons. If we go look at Dr. Robert Duncan, he came forward and said that he worked for the CIA and actually created these type of weapons. He worked on these type of weapons. So if he's coming forward and saying, I worked for the CIA, I created these weapons, and somebody comes forward and says, these people are mentally ill, the person who's coming forward and saying these people are mentally ill has an agenda. Either they're being paid, or they're just too lazy to go look, or they're just calling the guy a liar. So which is it? Because this is absolutely happening. People are being killed. People are being tortured. They're being raped. Their lives are being destroyed. And it's being done by the people around you who are walking free. And these people are some of the most dangerous people on earth. Because what kind of mentality does it take to do something like this to somebody? They're sitting outside of your home while you're inside your home. You're inside your home with a loved one, with a child. And they're hitting you with direct energy weapons. You're begging them to stop. They continue to do it. You call the police. They tell the police, ignore their cries. They're continuing to torture this person to death while they're begging for their lives, crying, begging for their lives, and that person is still torturing them to death. And then when that person finally gives in and commits suicide, because they just can't take it anymore, their eyes are being burned, their skin is being burned, they're being attacked in their brain, they're hearing voices, they're getting audio sounds 24/7, they just can't take it anymore, so they commit suicide. And then the person that does it feels a sense of entitlement and accomplishment, and then moves on to the next target and does it to the next person. They're doing this over and over and over and over again. They are genociding people here in America and around the world. Non-stop. So if somebody's looking at you, or not even looking at you, somebody's begging you to stop, begging for their life, and that person is still doing it, torturing that person to death. What kind of personality is that? These people have the same level of mentality. Here you have somebody begging for their life. They reach out to an officer. That perp comes along and says, don't listen to this person. I'll take care of it. Then they sit there and torture that person to death with direct energy weapons, spying on them, harassing them, torturing them. The literal definition of the UN torture. That person is begging for their life. Stop doing this to me. They continue to do it nonstop. That person eventually gives in, commits suicide, and the person feels a sense of accomplishment and probably a euphoric high. Wouldn't you like to interview that person and say, what is going through your mind when you do that? Why did you do this? Now, what are we going to do with the people that came forward and said all of these people are mentally ill? What do we do with those people in the side of history, right? You have people literally marching down the street with signs saying, stop this harassment. Stop hitting me with direct energy weapons. You have the Department of Defense posting articles on their own website, dod.gov or defense.gov, and they're talking about testing these weapons on people, and they don't say who these people are, but they say they're testing these weapons on people, and it seems to be burning their eyes and burning their skin. And then you have targeted individuals posting videos and posting articles and posting pictures of themselves with their eyes being burned and their skin being burned, and they're saying, I'm being hit with direct energy weapons. And then you have somebody coming forward and saying, this person is mentally ill. What are we going to do with the people that come forward and say this person is mentally ill when it finally comes out, just like it did in 1971 with COINTELPRO, the counterintelligence program, when they had the church hearings? What are we going to do with the people that come forward and try to claim that these people are mentally ill? What do we do with them? What do we do with the people? What do we do with the people that are doing this to people? What are we going to do with them? The people that are torturing others to death. What do we do with these people when it finally all comes out that, yes, they are torturing people to death with these direct energy weapons? What do we do with those people? In Germany, they walled them off. There was East Germany and West Germany. They walled them off. What do we do with these people? They're everywhere. Millions of people have been recruited into the Barack Obama civilian security force. Millions of people. And he didn't go ask permission. He didn't say this was going to be a new law. But he did sign an executive order giving him permission to murder American citizens. And he wants you to believe, his administration wants you to believe, that he's only using that executive order to kill suspected American terrorists that have joined ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and he's only doing it in the far-off regions of the world. When in fact, it's being done here in America. People are being murdered for their political beliefs. They're being murdered for their race. They're being murdered for their economic status, their social status. It's being done right here in America. And another reason why a lot of people want to deny this program is because they're scared. They're scared to come forward and say this is happening because they don't want to be targeted by it. And that's justified. That's justified. Because the program is horrific. It's killing a lot of people. It's forcing a lot of people into suicide. A lot of people. And it's forcing those people that they deem unworthy of living amongst them. Undesirable. For whatever reason. It might be they don't like the color of your skin. They don't like your nationality. They don't like that you're mixed race. They don't like that you're single race. They don't like something about you and they want you dead. And they have found a covert means to kill you off. And then you have people that come forward and say they're mentally ill. I've seen videos of people posting videos of a targeted individual, and they'll say, I've looked at this entire video. I've gone through their entire timeline, their entire video playlist, and it just seems like they're mentally ill to me. But then you go to the defense.gov website, and the defense.gov website is saying, we're testing direct energy weapons on people, and it's burning their eyes, it's burning their skin, and we have to do this. And then this person that he's claiming is mentally ill is saying, I'm being targeted by this weapon. And they could have been somebody prominent in the community. They could have been a lawyer, a doctor, a business person. Even politicians are being attacked by this program. Lawmakers are being attacked by this program. And so somebody will come forward and say that this person is mentally ill. A lot of people in this network will then pile on, increase the views, increase the likes. And then that becomes the propaganda to continue to oppress people, to continue to hold them down. They're smeared. They're a criminal. Is the criminal activity that they're involved in a death sentence? If it was, they'd be sentenced to death. Not by a vigilante mob, but in a court of law. And we can see from our past history with COINTELPRO that went after Martin Luther King. Even on the FBI.gov website, they acknowledged that COINTELPRO existed and that it was shut down because it violated civil rights. Even on the FBI.gov website. And now the ACLU is coming forward and saying, this is happening again today. And then the people that it's happening to are being discredited by some random person that comes forward, or even a psychologist that will come forward and say, this person's mentally ill. Which is defamation, because that doctor has not psychologically evaluated that person, nor can they disprove their claims. And then they're just automatically labeling them mentally ill from a distance without ever evaluating them personally or taking their claims seriously. Now, if we go look at the city of mayor there, signed into law that people cannot be sent to a mental institution if they come forward and say that they're a targeted individual. That if they come forward and say this is happening to them, they cannot be sent to a mental hospital within this city. Because there was such a push in that city for this to get done, you had doctors come forward, you had activists come forward, and they have even gone as far as banning additional 5G wireless antennas, towers from going up in the city because it's being used to attack targeted individuals. So these people coming forward and saying that these other people are mentally ill, they're calling lawmakers liars. They're calling lawmakers mentally ill. They're calling city officials mentally ill. Doctors mentally ill. Scientists mentally ill. Technology experts mentally ill. And the people that are coming forward and being attacked by this technology mentally ill. Why would they do that? What incentive do they have to do that? So I'm looking it up now. I just want to make sure I get the city correct, but I think that's what it is. Let me make sure. So again, Barack Obama put something into place that took away our civil liberties without going to Congress, without discussing it with anybody, put together this civilian security force, and now it's turned itself against America. Just like he got us into several wars, several active conflicts around the globe without ever talking to Congress. Look at what he did to Libya. Look at what happened in Syria. Look at what definitely happened in Yemen. And this person is now telling everybody that it's okay to spy on each other. So, Richmond, California, the mayor there has actually talked a lot about targeted individuals. He's written articles on targeted individuals. And when somebody comes forward and says they're being attacked in this way, there are people out there that are trying to help. even though there are a lot of people trying to discredit, damage, and destroy these people. So based on my research, and it's just, it's disconcerting to do all this research on targeted individuals, and then you go and you watch videos or articles of some surface argument that these people are just mentally ill and they don't present anything else. So what is their agenda? Why are they doing this? And it's defamation. And to ignore this is to ignore our rights, to ignore our fellow citizens, to ignore the criminal activity that these people are engaging in. And something needs to be done about it. But what can we do about it? What do we do with the civilization, with the society, with a growing culture that is attempting to kill each other off based on whatever they dislike about your characteristic, or something you said, or something you did? So I saw a video of a guy claiming he became a targeted individual because he stole a computer. He stole somebody's laptop. And by stealing somebody's laptop, he became a targeted individual. Is stealing a laptop an argument to put somebody in a program that will torture them to death? Is that ever an argument that somebody could make and convince the general public that that is necessary to keep our country safe?